What's up, guys? Sub-Zero here for another VOD review, and today we're going back to the roots. We're VOD reviewing Xunga, one of the best players in China, previous Worlds winner. And we're watching Xunga because, one, Xunga's fun to watch. He's got the little cat headphones on. I turned on his stream. The first thing I hear is him cranking Linkin Park before he plays the games. Is this guy just the greatest of all time? But also because he has a really interesting legend choice in this meta. He is playing Bard right now. He's been playing a lot of Bard, going sort of like back and forth between Bard and Urf, trying to, I guess, figure out what he wants to play. I don't know what the Chinese tournament scene looks right now, so I'm not actually 100% if he's qualified for what the tournaments in China look like. Someone who knows that could maybe tell me, or honestly, I'm trying to be lazy and outsource it to you guys, but honestly, I should do the... Look, it doesn't matter for this VOD review. For this VOD, we're watching Xunga. He's going to play some Bard, and it's going to be awesome. Now, Xunga has... Okay. Like, am I really going to say this? Xunga has slightly been ruined for me when I talked to someone at Tactician's Crown 2 who said that this guy is actually kind of toxic, or something like that. I don't remember exactly what they said, but it was something along the lines of, oh, this guy's kind of like BM to people in his chat or something, but all good. He's got the headphones, and I can't listen to him flame me, so we're going to watch Xunga and love it. He immediately stamps Static Shiv JG, and this to me looks like he's angling Azir. I think that makes perfect sense from our itemization standpoint and from our augment standpoint. When we take Caretaker's Chosen, Caretaker's really prismatic one, I forget what it's actually called, and I'm not going to be able to see the name because it's in Chinese, but this augment gives you a prismatic at level 7, which means you really want to push tempo, push levels, right? You don't want to play any kind of reroll comp, of course, and stick yourself at level 7 or level 6 the entire game. You want to push fast 7, get your prismatic, so you want to play a comp that spikes hard on 7, and that's Azir. That's like Neela, but she requires very specific items. Could be Noxus as well as another option, though the only thing is that, like, Noxus, I don't know how many units you can actually itemize. Azir, I feel like you can itemize a ton of different units. So I'm going to assume that we're angling for Azir this game. We're also in Godwillow's Grove, so maybe we play a bit more of a vertical Shurima Azir board this game. I guess we'll see what ends up happening here. I'm curious here, do you sell Nefiri pair in this position? It actually feels really bad to sell Nefiri pair here. But what's the other option? Because you can't, you know, sell the Vi. If you win, you could have sold like Vi and then put something else on there, but like you have to make 10 here, right? Yeah, so you sell Nefiri pair. Feels bad, but you have to do it, and it's not that crucial of a pair. It's not like you're itemizing Nefiri or anything, so I think this makes a lot of sense from gold making perspective so that you don't kill your econ the rest of the game. Speaking of econ, that Giant's Belt would have been really nice to pick up. I'll go for the Rod if possible here. If none of this, then I'll just take, I mean, the 2-cost sword's better than the 1-cost sword, I guess. A bit unfortunate for Xunga, but it's alright. He'll be able to get to his items late game with this Caretaker's Augment. And he does get Noxus in, which I feel like Noxus and Shurima, they fit so well together early game because of this Nefiri unit providing you Challenger and Shurima. So he gets this 4 Shurima board with Noxus in as well. A really solid early board. The only issue is our only upgrade is this Cassiopeia. We don't have 2-starred frontline, so as you can see, our frontline gets kind of blown up. The Cassiopeia actually almost wins that because this Cassio unit is not normally. But yeah, our frontline is this dog and this Swain, which is definitely underwhelming. So we're gonna have a bit of a mixed streak early game. Loss, win, loss. Ideally, you'd actually lose this, but his board's actually so strong that it's going to be hard to lose some of these fights, though. Looking at the rest of the lobby, looks like most of his matchups are pretty strong. We get a Bruiser player here who just took Bruiser +1. The start of the game has... That's 6 Cho'Gaths? They have 6 Cho'Gaths! What the hell? How do they have 6 Cho'Gaths? No econ augment. Is this person just the god of TFT? I mean, maybe they started the game with a Cho'Gath 2 and then natural a couple more. To be fair, I guess now that I think about it, the game that I played on Cho, like on stream a few days ago, I had 6 Cho'Gaths at 2-6 with no econ augment. So now that I think about it, maybe I'm a high roller and they're a high roller. The Giant's Belt, ideally, it can either be a tank item or it can be a Nashor's. Nashor's is really solid in this comp, and the problem with making another damage item out of this belt is it really kills your ability to make tank items. So I'm curious to see what happens here. Yeah, I'm completely fine with this. I think you kind of have to feel the need to make a tank item out of this belt, or else you are going to be stuck with 6 components dedicated to damage items and then 1 component... No, 7 components really dedicated to damage items because you'll have the sword left over. So you'll have 0 tank item components if you don't make Sunfire here. So I think Sunfire is reasonable. It's not the best in this comp because I feel like you really want like Giga tank items for Nasus. So I wouldn't have actually even been surprised to see him breed an extra component there. I like this healing orbs augment a decent bit in this comp. He's gonna opt for transfusion, which is an interesting choice, and then gets his full item for leveling to 6 here. And his full item is gonna be what, adaptive helm frontline? I mean, a lot of these options are bad. Blue buff and then play for like Silco later, I guess is. I mean, if you're gonna play the Silco variation as strong, I'm just not that confident the Silco variation is actually good. And if you're not playing that, then where's blue buff going? Throw it on Talia? Feels a little bit underwhelming, but we'll see what happens. Maybe he does just play Silco version. I think when I've seen this comp played recently, I've seen Dish Soap play a lot and play the Demacia version where you actually get Sona and Jarvan in, and then you can play Galio for Demacia, or you can just play Sona and Jarvan and be happy. I think that version's really strong because Sona does so well for this Azir unit. So curious to see if that's what he ends up going for here. Also, he opts to get out of 4 Shurima in this spot and just play for more vertical Noxus. I wonder if it's ever not an Azir game, but I don't see how you could possibly play Noxus with these items, right? There's no way that we can play around a Mordekaiser using these items. I don't see it. So I feel like it has to be Azir from this position, but I guess we'll see. Still this sword left to finish, which maybe a Gunblade, maybe a GS. Would love to pick up the Nasus or the Jarvan here. Yeah, Nasus looks really nice. The only sad part is that we're stuck with this glove now, and it's just a sea of offensive items that we have here, and taking the blue buff didn't even really help that. Another reason I liked Adapticon there is it helps sort of like balance out frontline and backline items. But now our frontline and backline items are really imbalanced, but we'll see what happens. Does get the 4 Shurima back in now that we have a Nasus 2 buff, and you can still play around Noxus with this combo of Cassiopeia plus Darius plus Swain, which are just really nice units to all fit in. Can't get in 5 Noxus. Oh my god, did my phone buzz? Like, I think I heard it by osmosis. I'm pretty sure my phone buzzed there. So I honestly, maybe it didn't buzz that hard. Maybe it didn't buzz that loud, because honestly, like, I didn't hear it loud. So maybe it was like a little buzz, because it was on top of something. So hopefully it didn't troll you guys. But we'll see. I had someone in my YouTube comments say they get trolled every time my phone buzzes on my desk. So if you're that person, I am doubly sorry. Also, part of the reason we're doing this VOD review on Chunga as well is because someone in my Twitch chat asked me to do a Chinese VOD review, and I said, you know what? I'll do it. I was looking for a VOD review today, and I was like, oh, I promised this person that I would do a Chinese VOD review. Maybe I should, like, actually follow up on that. So you're welcome, random chatter. I'll expect a Twitch Prime subscription. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, I mean, it's 3-6, 68 HP, 50 or 59 HP, 68 econ. We're pretty rich, but not the healthiest. Our early game was, I would say, mediocre. Not amazing, but not terrible. Just kind of meh. Like, nothing to write home about. We didn't hit any really insane upgrades outside of this Cassiopeia, but our itemization was, like, okay for Cassiopeia as well. This JG item is not great. He goes 7 immediately here. So our options are basically just the Bramble or the Glove here, and he opts to immediately go for the Glove. I'm curious, maybe Bramble is quite bad in this lobby. I didn't really scout around for it, but I'm not sure if maybe he just already knows sort of like the texture of the lobby. Finally finds in his ear. Looks like he was just rolling down straight for this entire board. Ooh, wait. No, it's fine. I thought we picked up another. Yeah, the other Cassiopeia is on the board. So we're just going to play the 4 Shurima variant. And wow, blue buff Cassiopeia here. And he has Guardbreaker here onto the Azir, and he's going to put the Radiant TG on Darius in this position. Interesting. Okay. I mean, Guardbreaker, fantastic Azir item. Actually works really well with these 2 other components as well. The JG and the Static Shiv are perfect for Guardbreaker. Now your enemy seems fine here. We have a lot of synergies in. He's actually going to go for the Tome here. Wow. And just rips it immediately. Misses on Shurima, but does get Strategist, which is good enough. I think Tome's solid. I mean, I probably could have slowed that down and actually looked at the difference between Tome and the other thing, because there's actually a meaningful difference. And yeah, I thought for sure that he could get Shurima in here. It looks like he was just a bit slow. He does find a Nasus here, and now you can just move, yep, the items off of Swain. I'm actually curious, is he interested in building Crown Guard here? I think Crown Guard's an okay item. It's not the best on Nasus. You really like it on stuff like Shen and Nico, who actually really crave that AP. Nasus, his AP scaling is pretty mediocre. It's just the ability for his spell to last a little bit longer. So yeah, you probably want to just greed out this Chain Vest for like a Gargoyle or a Bamboo Vest. I think that's very appropriate here. Wow, get dropped the Aatrox here. So yeah, isn't this just immediately a pivot into the Aatrox here, and then we can move Radiant TG over to him, and it's all right. The only downside is it's just an Aatrox one, so I feel like he's actually gonna like die a decent amount of the time, which is why maybe Shunga's. Ooh, he's gonna put it on Jarvan. I feel like Aatrox is a better unit in general to put this Radiant TG on. I mean, definitely once you hit like an Aatrox too, but I think his idea is that like right now, the Jarvan has a much higher chance of being 2-star than the Aatrox. That's pretty interesting. I could certainly see it. And also one thing to note is that he's kind of popping off with this board. His transfusion pick from earlier makes a lot of sense in the context of the fact that he knew that he was hard forcing this comp. And transfusion, even though it's pretty hard nerfed, it does do pretty well in this comp. Yeah, he's doing actually a lot of scouting here and goes for Gargoyle over the Bramble Vest. Yeah, so I think this is just a lobby that we're not going to get a lot of Bramble value out of, not a lot of crits, not a lot of like Ionia players. So I could certainly see going for this in this position, in this kind of lobby. And yeah, now we get to play 6 Shurima without even really the spat. You know, it would have been really nice to get the Shurima spat there. We can play for like Gigamax cap if we ever find another Shurima spat off carousel and play for 9 Shurima, win the game. But, you know, it's not actually the end of the world just to get Strategist +1. It's a decent augment. And honestly, I mean, it's probably not better than Shurima +1, but it's not too much worse because it's not like we were getting to 9 Shurima this game without another spat anyway. But yeah, up to 50 gold here. Just going to push 8 at 5-1 and then roll, try to find Azir 2, and just some kind of +1. Could be Misfortune just for 4 strat. What else would you play here? I mean, the Sona is still an option, but I don't know if that tech has made its way to China or not. And yeah, this blue off Cassiopeia, I don't know. I'm actually, I should look at the, let's look at the damage Delta Champions here and see how much damage this Cassiopeia does, because I'm pretty iffy on this this blue buff Cassiopeia. I definitely would feel much better about having like an Adapticone Jarvan and then having this Radiant TG onto Aatrox, but I mean, he's kind of pumping damage. How much damage did you do here? 5k? Holy! Alright, never mind. Chunga's God of TFT. Really? Cassiopeia, 6 Shurima with 1 item dealt 5k in that fight. I know it's a pretty nice fight for the Cassio, but holy. Alright, I will never sleep on random blue buff Cassiopeia. Why would you play Silco when you could play a Cassiopeia? That's all I'm saying. We already have Shred, so we don't really need the Ionic Spark, but what are we building otherwise? I mean, I guess you could just leave this on Jarvan forever. He's actually going to add the Sejuani here, which is a unit that I see a decent amount of time. You know, like Dish Soap also talks about flexing around this unit. Moves the blue buff over to Cassante, which is very, very smart. Makes sense. And then at this point, yeah, I would think about just itemizing Aatrox. You can go like BT. Ooh, BT what? Maybe it's Gunblade. Yeah, this is actually difficult, and you can see Shunga's taking so long on this. QSS Gunblade. QSS on Cassante, perhaps? Roll in a bit more here. Someone's pinging his board. Not really sure why. Cassante paired now. Yeah, QSS Cassante, and then he's even just going to Gunblade the Cassante. Wow. And then at this point, he decides that it's actually better to move items over to the Aatrox, because he now has Aatrox pair. He thinks it's actually pretty reasonable to hit Aatrox, and maybe he thinks in a vacuum that Aatrox is slightly stronger. The reason that he put it on Jarvan earlier was because he wasn't confident that he could get Aatrox 2, but now he's level 8. He knows that he'll be able to find Aatrox 2. He's still 59 HP and win streaking. What is going on in this lobby? He's just destroying everybody. But yeah, this Sejuani, a decent addition to the board as just an extra unit to, you know, help tie this entire board together. Fits in really well with this Renekton off of the Godwillow's Grove, where, you know, like, since we have that Renekton there, we're getting Bruiser in as well, so she's actually a decent frontline. I don't know. I don't recall if he rolled over Misfortunes or not, but I'm curious if he's more interesting in this Sedge than a Misfortune. But it does, I mean, it reminds me of the way Dishto plays this comp, where he'll definitely flex Sejuani frontline if he hits it. And it makes sense, right? Azir auto-attacks a lot. With that extra attack speed, he's going to be proccing Sejuani passive a decent amount of the time, and also she's just a good frontliner. Itemized here. We've itemized everyone, so we can just look at like Jarvan items or Sejuani items, don't we? Do we have healing? Yeah, we have the Sunfire on the Nasus, so he's just gonna opt for Redemption. The other option would be like Morello's there to have repetitive healing reduction. So I actually like this a decent bit. This Nasus is gonna be healing reducing everything that we really care about, and the Redemption is gonna make him last even longer. So I like this. I think obviously if you don't have Sunfire, it's probably just Morello's there, though we don't actually have a great Morello's holder. Usually you can just put it on the Sona. We could put it on the Sejuani though, wouldn't be too bad. But yeah, hitting that Aatrox 2 at level 8, really, really big for this board, because now we have 2 Radiant items on an Aatrox. Feels really, really nice. And yeah, we're just going to be allowed to continue this streak. 11 streak. Just showing the power of how hard Bard spikes on level 7 once you hit something like an Azir 2, or at this point, a Aatrox 2 with a Radiant TG. I mean, that our augment was Radiant TG, a full item and item components. Like, this augment, if you make it to 7, does insane work, and Chunga was looking a little bit weak, but now very, very strong. Ooh, better positioning in the Cassante could have actually kicked the Warwick, though. I don't know if we would have had time to actually kill the Warwick. With better positioning, I think you could. He doesn't have CC immunity or anything like that. Like, yeah, I think we could. I mean, it didn't actually not matter. He wins that fight easily, but I feel like that's actually a fight that could be scary. But yeah, I'm actually quite surprised by the level of strength of this board. 6 Shurima. It's really the God Willow's Grove that I feel like put this comp over the top, where now he can fit so many units in, and fitting in the 6 Shurima with the Strategist +1 feels really, really nice. You still roll at 8 here, right? Roll to like 30 gold or something like that. We want Sejuani item. It's just Adaptive Helm. I feel like I would roll to like 30 here, because we actually have a lot of upgrades left to find. The Sejuani 2, the Jarvan 2, and the Cassante 2. But I think he's confident that he can just push fast 9. So wow, we're just gonna chill on this board with 3 huge pairs to hit. It's not like any of these pairs are small, right? Sejuani 2 would be amazing, Cassante 2 obviously amazing, but like look at these fights. It doesn't even look close. No one can actually kill this Nasus. I mean, the Aatrox 2 with a Radiant TG, I feel like is just doing so much work in these fights, tanking for the board, doing a little bit of damage at almost 5k. And so yeah, he can actually just coast it. Oh, well, okay, well, if he'd rolled once, he would have hit that shot last turn is all I'm saying. It wouldn't have mattered because he won the fight anyway, but holy, that's a great hit. And that means we can just go fast 9 in this position and then add whatever we want to. Probably a Heimerdinger this late into the game. We already have Shred and Healing Reduct though, but I think actually spreading that Shred and Healing Reduct is pretty valuable. The other option is to go for like Reparo. You could go triple Burno, you could go Reparo, or you could go for the 3 option, the Goldinator, Shrinko, and Burno option. I like Gold Shrink Burn in this spot because we don't actually have a really good way of spreading this healing reduction. Whereas like, you know, like if there's a unit on the right side that's taking a lot of damage, you know, we would actually like to healing reduct them. Though I guess all of our damage is focused on the left side. I don't know if this game's gonna go long enough for me to see what his Heimerdinger choice is. You could also pick up a Scion on level 9, play Scion 2 over the Sejuani, which would be a really nice upgrade. Yeah, there's actually a lot of room for this board to get better, but I like it. It looks like he's smurfing on kids, honestly. This is a like high challenger lobby in China, but like it looks like no one can build a board that can deal with this level of just board strength with the Bard augments. So yeah, really, really cool game from Shunga so far. It like looks like he's just coasting to a dub. But yeah, I mean, this is what Bard does, right? It just puts you in a spot where you are much stronger than the rest of the lobby at the end of the day. Like, you are up so much, right? Even if someone takes Radiant Relics, you're still up an item and a half on them, which is crazy. Because Radiant Relics, in terms of like the power that it gives you, is a very, very solid augment if you're talking about like capping out your board late game. And if you can get to your board, which, you know, obviously he did this game, then, you know, incredibly strong on a board like this that just caps out pretty high. There's a ton of 5 quests that you can add. He's even holding on to this Heimerdinger here, but he knows that he can't actually find the turret upgrades for it yet, so he's gonna opt to not play it. It's also Ionia Rise, which is really strong, so it might be that he just plays Rise the whole... Yeah, he's gonna opt to not play Heimerdinger at all and just play the Rise the whole game. Never make the upgrade on the Renekton, because he's just gonna be sitting on the God Willows Grove the entire game. But yeah, Ionia Rise, especially actually in this matchup, I think this is a really good call. Ionia Rise, when you're playing into a bunch of rogues, feels really, really good just to help slow them down, stop them from just killing your entire board. But yeah, like I feel like I can just leave at this point. Oh my god. Like, let's watch the last couple of fights, see what happens. But he's on a 17 streak, at a mid streak early on in the game, and then just completely, like, I'm gonna check after this game if he was playing against like Silvers on accident or something like that. But I'm quite sure, like it shows in the top left, my head's covering it, but it shows he's 1600 LP in China. Rank 1 is like 1800 LP, so he's like very, very high elo China. It's just the strength of this board, man. It's just this board being strong enough to destroy the rest of the lobby and no one else having a board that actually caps high enough to beat it. Wow, random GP2 pivot into on this board. Yeah, 1 multicasters player, but they're stuck on 7. Their augment is Sorcerer +1, so really, really weak augment from them. And yeah, it's just going to be the easy victory for Shunga. Hope you guys enjoyed this video showing off the power of this Bard legend, because he's really cool. And yeah, you can see his LP. This is not a fake game. This is not recorded for content or something against a bunch of Silvers. He's 1700 LP on the strongest server in the world, maybe. So thank you guys for watching this video. Hope you enjoyed. Check out all my links down below, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye.